Okay, next up is WeGift. We are very excited to visit them in their office and talk about their growth story, success, their value to investors, customers, talent, and let's see how it goes. So hello and welcome to this episode of Startups of London. We are in the office of WeGift, and thanks for having us. Can you start by telling what you do here and introducing us to your responsibilities and to yourself?
Absolutely, yeah. My name's Adam Hobbs. I'm the VP of Global Supply here at WeGift, and basically that means that I'm responsible for all of the brands and the retailers that work with us at WeGift, whether that be through our B2B channels or our consumer channels. Any partnership we have with any retailer or brand in any country we work in falls under my remit.
So I think it makes a lot of sense to start with discussing your value to customers and users.
WeGift's purpose is to enable value to flow further, faster and more freely.
Okay.
So the mission of the company is kind of overall is to deliver the world's leading reward platform. So what that means for our users is it takes away all of the barriers and the boundaries that are in today's market of global payments, localized payments, and actually giving the ability to corporates and our kind of B2B partners to give their consumers, incentivize their consumers, provide a really easy and frictionless method to transfer value and reward staff, reward consumers, incentivize them. All of the key things that big kind of enterprise companies are trying to deliver in this day and age.
How did you arrive at this position? What kind of iterations has the business gone through, and can you tell me about some of the challenges that you have had to overcome to actually reach this point?
Our founder, Aaron Alexander, actually received a refund back in 2011 for a product that he purchased, and for some reason, whatever happened, it wasn't to his standard or something was wrong with the product. So he asked for a refund. Now I believe the refund was of quite a minimal value, but it was actually issued in the form of a paper voucher. Okay. So he had to wait for about 10 days for this voucher to arrive in the post. We've actually still got it here today. It's actually on our shelf at the top there, framed. So Aaron kind of looked at this and thought, well, this can't be the most logical way for a business to try and refund or issue value back to a consumer. And that's where the idea behind moving value or allowing value to flow came from. That was the first kind of idea behind what back then was called Savvy. And then at the end of 2016, start of 2017, Aaron actually pivoted the company into what we have today, WeGift, so the B2B proposition. The consumer market is very narrow and it's very limited, whereas the B2B market, as we all know, is limitless in the sense of every single corporate or brand or enterprise company is trying to gain more customers. In terms of the challenges that we faced and what we set out to achieve, when we first started to look at the B2B market, we're in quite a unique position because the market that we are trading in has got three key companies or kind of companies that you'd have to deal with. So you have the brands, so you've got like the likes of John Lewis, your Currys, your Marks and Spencers. You have gift card processors, and they're the technology providers that sit behind a gift card platform. And then you have your corporate customers, and they're the ones that actually want to use you to purchase value and transfer e-gift cards in API format in real time. So immediately the first challenge is you're starting a business with three key pillars. How do you convince each pillar to come on board without having the other two pillars? And that was the first challenge. It's how do you get the buy-in from these big, well-known brands, and how do you get the buy-in from these market-leading gift card and e-gift card buyers?
Segueing from that to how funding and the investments you've received shaped the organization and your history of that. Can you tell us about that?
Initial kind of funding was Aaron as a founder putting his own money forward to try and start the business, backed by some angel investors who have actually followed us through the journey. We then went through a seed round of funding, which was to help support the business kind of grow into a larger organisation and bring on board more talent and kind of really push forward WeGift as a brand. And then to that point, earlier this year, we actually closed out our Series A funding, which was fantastic for the business.
So one part of growth is usually, certainly customers, users, and investment.
Yeah.
But another very big part of that is the people side of growth. So can you tell us the story of your people growth journey in a way, including who were the first founders, first employees? How many? What's the team size currently?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what are your future plans with that?
When I joined the company, there was about 16 employees. We're split across 2 locations. So we have our London office and our Cambridge office. Aaron has been the founder from day one and will continue to be the founder. One thing that has always been evident within any employee that we've had within WeGift is the drive and the kind of excitement to be able to make change. So within the last 12 months, we've actually really upped the rigor. We've really upped the rigor in terms of how and what we look for in people. One of the things that we have to be really, really careful of is how do you make sure this person is going to be able to do a job, because you need to make sure they can add to the value of the company, but most importantly, how can they add to the culture of the business? And they kind of go from big hearts, sharp minds, fierce drive, curious souls, and true spirits. The reason it works in that order is big hearts. We need to have people that are going to come into the team and be team players. Look out for themselves, but also look out for everyone within the team. In terms of the sharp minds, one thing that we constantly look for is the right answer. We don't necessarily need to be right. In terms of the fierce drive, goes back to what I mentioned at the start. People come into the office, we want them to come into the office. You know, it's half of your waking life that you're choosing to commit to a company. It's really important to have that kind of drive and ambition to want to achieve and do more. In terms of the curious souls, again, constantly asking questions. Why do we do this? Why do we do that? And then in terms of true spirits, again, we want to have people that are true in what they do. They stick by what they do. They are very kind of motivated and true to themselves.
Is there anything else you would want people who are potentially interested in working with this company hear about you? What they should know? What should they know about you?
Great question. So in terms of what they should know about WeGift, we are constantly thriving to achieve the best. As I say, everything goes back to the kind of one goal, one purpose, one mission, one vision. The culture here is incredibly open. We're very, very positive between each other. One of the key things that we constantly try and push to improve and succeed on is celebrating failures. Overall, the biggest thing to take away and know about working at WeGift is it's all about the culture and how you fit into the business. We're very keen on making sure that is consistent. So every month we have an all hands where both parts of the company, Cambridge and the London office, will either go to Cambridge or Cambridge will come down to London. We'll have the day together, we'll get a team lunch, then we'll go out for an activity afterwards, spend some quality time telling each other about the successes of the month, and also sometimes the failures of the month, because again, it's good to understand how we can learn from those. And then we all go out afterwards and have a really good kind of team building experience.
Can you talk about the pros and cons, if you will, of working and having an office in London?
So specifically around the London base, our London office houses our commercial team and our finance team. So anyone that's got anything to do with the kind of day-to-day running commercially, whether it be marketing, sales, customer success, they all sit within the London office along with our finance team. One of the key reasons we decided to do that was because London, for all of its kind of comments and questions about why people are based in London as startups, because it's very expensive to have a base in London. It is the centre of everything. So we have over 100 clients in the UK, and over 80% of those have got some kind of base in London. So it makes a lot of sense for us to be, from a commercial perspective, to be very close to those clients. From a client perspective, very, very useful to be able to have that kind of close proximity with the majority of your client base.
I mean, one trend that I've certainly noticed is for B2B businesses, the case for having a physical London office is stronger. But it is, if you're a B2C company and selling to the world, it might just make sense to be in Bali sometimes.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah, I think if we weren't B2B, I don't think we'd have the need to be in the London office as much. I mean, I wouldn't mind working out of Bali occasionally, so I'd take that.
What do you think are some key milestones that are awaiting WeGift?
Absolutely, yeah. So, as I say at the start, my focus is around the brand side of our world. So, my first key milestone is to sign up 5,000 retailers, which is quite a large number. And you would have seen that I still kind of take a gasp. But no, it's a fantastic kind of target to have. And I think from that perspective, we will have such a global coverage by the time we reach 5,000 that we will have almost achieved our mission of being that kind of global leader in the rewards platform space.
I'm Philippa. I am the head of commercial partnerships. My job is to find new clients for WeGift to work with. I think as soon as I met Aaron, I realised what a fantastic opportunity it was to come and work here. Having worked in the reward industry for a few years, I realised some of its limitations and could see in this organisation that they were solving those and in really inventive and technically more adept ways.
James, I'm a customer success manager. I've been at WeGift now I think just under 2 months. Generally my thoughts today have been just that I thought it was, like Philippa, a really good opportunity. The role that I would be doing would essentially give me a lot of autonomy and responsibility. So the purpose of really having me here was to help manage the customers and make sure and reduce churn. So I was there to make sure they were seeing value, try and iron out any issues. But something Aaron said was that essentially what would be really good about having the customer success is to make the product the best that it can be, so that it means that the customers will want to keep coming back to that. So you essentially become like an advocate for the customers internally. And yeah, it was a really good opportunity to essentially hone my skills in that, and also to develop new skills and new ways of working.
What about in terms of people? So what are some milestones that you think you'll run into in the future?
Yeah, so we've just actually hit one of our most recent milestones. So since we've obviously closed off our Series A funding, part of our plan and how we wanted to kind of utilise that funding is to increase commercial, finance and also marketing support within the business. We have done a fantastic job of building a client base on very limited marketing historically, because we've had a very good kind of wealth of experience within the gift card market, which we've been able to capitalise on. So one of the things we wanted to do first port of call is increase the marketing, which in turn increases finance, because there's more things that come through in terms of customers and clients and costs. And then again, sales, because the more leads you get, the more you have to close, which is a fantastic problem to have. So our first milestone was really to increase the number of employees that we have and actually fill the office that we've got behind us. So when we moved in, I think 3 of the bank of desks that you see behind me were empty. And now, as you can see, we've got a packed office. So that in terms of headcount, first milestone in the commercial team has certainly been achieved. We have some really kind of key milestones that we want to achieve within the development team. So at the moment we have 12 developers that are based in Cambridge. We want to get that up to 20. We want to keep growing that team and keep investing in the systems and the services that we provide. So in terms of the personnel, it's to continue to grow our headcount in the required departments, but always having our kind of the culture and our kind of 5 key pillars within that at the forefront of that recruitment. We'd never cut corners or try and bring people in for the sake of getting people in.
To the potential investors listening to this recording, is there anything else you'd like to add? And in terms of numbers, if you have any numbers to share, feel free to go ahead. In
terms of the angel investors, the people that were with us from the start, they've already seen over a 500% return, which is a fantastic return considering it's been a reasonably short amount of time. And in terms of the trajectory of where we're going as a business, the percentage increases that I mentioned earlier are only going to continue.
So building a tech business today is not just about people, it's not just about investment, it's not just about finding the product market fit, although those 3 are very, very big parts of that. But I think there's an aspect which I personally think is underutilized, under-discussed, whatever you want to call it, and it is the tools that businesses depend on to build up. Yeah? Good entrepreneurs and founders really understand that.
Absolutely, I think you make a really good point. A lot of startup world is 100 miles an hour. 24/7, 365, it has to be, because you're trying to change something, you're trying to innovate, you're trying to bring something to the market that doesn't exist. And that's really hard work. So it has to be very fast paced, very intense, and all the time. You have to live and breathe it. So in terms of the tools, to use the right tools, it will allow you to open up so much more capacity within your day-to-day, within your teams. It's a really fundamental part of the business. We have Slack, so we have internal Slack channels. Each channel is designed for a particular reason. It's not one-to-one chat. We try and build channels around all of that to bring everyone into the business. And so what ties really nicely into that is the use of Notion as well. So Notion is our internal kind of communication in sense of policies, notices, procedures, practice, FAQs, all the kind of key things that are very static. In terms of task management into teams and kind of cross-departmental, we use Asana, which again, very, very, very useful from a making sure that tasks never get dropped, always get updated, we have a clear path to finishing that task. In terms of sales, we use Salesforce, probably an answer you get quite commonly. Salesforce tends to be the most common CRM when it comes to anything sales orientated.
That sounds very good. I mean, this was an absolute pleasure to have you as a guest, and thanks for inviting us to your office. It is a truly remarkable spot, the corner office, nice view, very inspiring people. So thanks for having us, and thanks for being a part of this conversation.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you for coming in.